Test boosters, test boosters, test boosters. Today, Dr. Brad McEwen, nutrition expert, naturopath, herbalist, educator, researcher, man with over 19 years clinical experience, talks about test boosting. Who needs it? What age should we get one? Should we get one? Where do we buy one? And what should we look for when we are buying one?
Welcome to the Body Science Podcast, bringing you everything you need, want, and should know about health, fitness, nutrition, and training. As always, the information contained in this podcast is for the information purposes only and is not designed to diagnose or be prescriptive to treat, prevent, or manage any injury, disease, or other health-related condition.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Triandrobol. Feel invigorated and perform at your best in and out of the gym with Triandrobol Test. Ideal for anyone looking to naturally increase testosterone levels to help you train harder, improve strength, reduce body fat, and boost libido. One of the most potent formulations on the market, loaded with high-quality therapeutic ingredients, Triandrobol is for both men and women wanting to improve their physique.
Welcome to the Body Science Podcast, where everything's about being fit, happy, and healthy. Today, we have Dr. Brad McEwen with us, nutrition expert, naturopath, herbalist, super educator. I'm adding that one in now. And the more we talk, the more I learn about what you actually do for the industry, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Researcher, mentor, over 19 years of clinical experience. And I've got the big one today. We get this one a lot in our company. Like it comes over the reception a lot. Do I need a test booster, and how old do I need to be to have a test booster?
That's a very good question. And the short answer to that is yes. And age, it's a very good question, is what age is appropriate.
Yeah, because we get a lot of 18-year-olds asking us, do I need one? Can't make, like, what's it going to do? And then I get a lot of ex-players and mates from sport that have, finished sport, and they're, I just need that little something to make me feel a little bit better. I don't have any problems, Greg, but, what do you got that makes me feel good? And do you like the side effects of that one?
That's it. They're called positive side effects. When you're feeling good, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is, yes, we all need a test boost.
Okay. And when we talk test boosters, people, we're not talking about an anabolic steroid.
That's
We're
right.
talking about staying within what's naturally in your body. How do I say that? What's naturally in my body?
We're enhancing what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to think about it. So the way how formulas work, particularly like with Tribulus, is we're building upon what's already there.
Yep.
So the body wants to make it, the body wants to remain in balance, and the more work you do, the more it has to react and work with it.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, if you're doing more and more work, whether it's physical work, mental work, you're an ex-player or a current player, you're just starting off and you want to have that, added boost kind of effect. The body responds in kind, but it gets to a certain point where I suppose it struggles, and you just need that extra boost. And that's where Tribulus and other nutrients and herbs come along. So in a way, the difference is anabolic steroid is artificial. Mm-hmm. It's giving something to the body that it thinks it needs, but it's not identical.
Okay.
In this case, we're using what the body naturally has and enhancing that result. And therefore, you get more out of it. And of course, it's longer term. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't take anabolic steroids anyway. Yeah. There's a general statement, I will say. But if you did, for some reason, you can't take them long term. Mm-hmm. Long term, massive side effects.
Okay.
So with this one here, we're looking at building up the natural effect of testosterone. And as we age, and in some research studies, middle age is around about 25.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, 25. It's where the body starts to sort of planing out. It's working itself out. You've reached your growth and development period. You've reached your peak bone mass and bone mineral density. Yep. The body's setting itself up for life by that stage. And then you think about it, you're 25, you got another 50, 60, 70 years or more.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on the person and what they do in their life. So if we can stimulate, if that's the right word, stimulate the body into a healing process and getting all the hormones balanced and testosterone driving into an anabolic state, a positive one, as in you're building more bone, building more muscle and nervous tissue, etc., you're going to set yourself up for longer in life.
So you're saying that if I'm working in a retail store and a 25-year-old male comes into my store, I can talk to him about a test booster?
Yes, you can.
Interesting.
And the best thing about that is you ask your questions, why do you want it and what's going on? But the thing is you can do it for 25-year-old.
Okay.
Because they're working out their life. Like they're young, they're working out what they want to do in life, but also the body's got themselves into the state of homeostasis.
Yes.
It's working itself out. And if you don't work it out properly at that stage, it can make it harder later. Doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yep.
So if you have a 55-year-old, a 65-year-old, 80-year-old, we can talk about these different ones later with case studies. But we can still do it on those people because it's like a recovery phase. It's the next phase of their life. So we can use in all different age groups.
Interesting. So most people who head into a health food store or a retail supplement store looking for a test booster, looking to improve exercise performance, stamina, endurance, working capacity of muscles. So what age group should we start looking at in relation to a test boosting supplement? Like you just said, a 25-year-old is obviously in that game. Is 18, an 18-year-old walks in, does an 18-year-old need to take a herbal supplement test booster?
Generally speaking, no. Mm-hmm. So I say it's not really major necessary.
Yep.
However, it comes down to the individual case.
Okay.
That's the tricky point as everyone's different. Some people, an 18-year-old may need it because there's some kind of muscle development issue. Mm-hmm. They may be a step behind. Mm-hmm. So there's different, I don't want to say medical health conditions because we're not prescribing it for that reason, but there's different reasons why they may be one step behind in their growth pattern.
Okay.
And it may be just due to needing a testosterone boost or at least a health boost. So something just to regulate that pathway. And that's a combination of different nutrients and herbs.
So if you're talking that, and we're not going to talk too much about the younger pops at 18, I don't think, because it's not
essential.
Not essential. Are you talking a younger kid who's a hard gainer, or are you talking a younger kid who is probably sat on the wrong side of the sugar intake, a little bit bigger, not as healthy as his mates, not, still soft in certain areas?
If we look in that area, this is a good point to make, actually. Let's just say it's an 18-year-old, they sit at home gaming. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it's not really needed.
Yep.
They need to get outside and do stuff, but I wouldn't be going for this. Mm-hmm. However, if they're an 18-year-old, they're a high-level athlete, they may be going to the Olympics, Commonwealth Games, they may be representing Australia or New South Wales or Queensland. Yep. We're in Queensland at the moment, I have to remember that. Queenslander. The thing is, they have to think of, that's where the extra questions come about.
Yep.
Think about, the background of the person, why they need it. They actually may be, doing some kind of sport where they need that extra boost. Mm-hmm. They could be cycling, rowing, representative sport, all different levels.
So when you're talking about a younger population using a test booster, it's because they're giving it somewhere else?
They're giving it somewhere else. They actually need it because they're using it.
Okay.
That's the main point to make up. That they need the extra benefit because they're effectively using it and they're not replenishing it as well as possible because the body's still working itself out.
And can they replenish with foods and other ingredients here, or are we talking it's definitely a herbal case here?
The herbal case will definitely make a big difference.
Yeah.
If they have fruit, vegetables, nuts and seeds, good quality protein and the building blocks of proteins, they'll then over time build up testosterone levels.
Yep.
Because testosterones and hormones, of course, are made from proteins.
Yes. And
peptides, etc. If they don't have the ability to convert it effectively, that's when it becomes an issue. And they may not be stimulating enough. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the combination of nutrients, and we are thinking about a particular supplement, we're working there, having the zinc, magnesium, B6 combination, that helps with the ability to regulate testosterone levels and stop it from being converted to the DHT, which is the dihydrotestosterone. And that's the negative form that affects prostate. And it's normally seen in older men. As men get older, it affects the prostate. But by using the combination of nutrients, maintaining and building upon healthy testosterone levels and boosting it up as required, that's going to far better male reproductive health.
Okay, male, interesting one. Hadn't even thought about that one leading into the age brackets we're just talking about.
Yeah.
Let's step it up a little bit.
Perfect.
40-year-olds, executives. 40-year-olds. And let's talk about two populations here, like a stressed executive and then a physically stressed bricklayer. Let's use our bricklayer again. Yeah,
we love the bricklayer. Without them, we don't have much.
Exactly.
So the way I see it, we'll do the executive first. Now, they may work 9 to 5, but massive 200% level.
Yep.
Then you've got the next executive that works from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. and they're sustained 100% all the time. That's the big difference there. So, but they're still both mentally sustained. They're firing on all cylinders. They're fighting it hard mentally, and they are effectively using up a lot of hormones and neurotransmitters. It's just a different kind of stressor on the person, and they may need that extra boost and energy and feel good, because everyone wants to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone wants to get to the end of the day and go, wow, that day was amazing.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. Oh, it worked, but I had so much fun doing it. It was a great day. It was awesome. And I feel better towards the end of the day, building upon it.
Okay. And what about the bricklayer? Why would a bricklayer want a test booster?
Because they're doing a lot more physical work. It's again, using the example we've talked about in the past, it's not just laying the brick, but it's that mental concentration, but a lot more of the physical work. They have to get the bricks there, lay them all out. Whatever temperature of the day, they're going to be sweating, so they're going to be losing vital nutrients that way. And the testosterone's needed to build up muscle strength and the quality of the muscle fibers, as well as the recovery. Because if you don't work out effectively, and this is a whole different podcast altogether, you don't build proper muscle and the fibers aren't as strong. So you need testosterone to maintain the fiber strength and flexibility and, to actually build upon it. And that's what these guys are doing. They're building structures, but they're not looking after their own building in that case, because they're working hard. With a testosterone boost, a test boost, you're allowing the body, because you're physically working, to build upon that. Build the muscle and repair the muscle as we go.
Okay, interesting. So you touched on it. Let's talk about testosterone performance.
Perfect. So with performance, we're looking at all different levels. So again, it's the mental performance, the physical performance. It could be laying bricks. It could be as simple as, you're doing a 100-meter sprint. So you're in, doing some kind of athletics, Olympic Games, Commonwealth Games or whatever. And you could be doing further endurance stuff. So you need that power, stamina and endurance. And that's where the testosterone comes into it as well. It maintains, stimulates, builds upon what's already there.
So what are we trying to increase when we talk about the word testosterone? And there's words thrown around like bioavailable, blah, blah, blah. You can touch on that more than I can. What are we looking at when we talk about a test booster using herbal medicine and vitamins?
So we're looking at a number of ingredients, particularly one of the big ones is Tribulus. It's been around a very long time. I remember when I was first started studying back in the olden days, and we're learning a long time ago, people. We were learning herbs, and Tribulus was not new, but relatively new into the Western herbal medicine sort of, learning style of things. And we're taught that it is a testosterone booster, but regulator as well.
And what do you mean by regulator?
It's an interesting point, isn't it? That if you maintain and build upon, you'll keep using it. So if I'm going to sit at home and, sit on the couch, so to say, and watch TV and eat chips and carbs and just don't do anything, testosterone levels are very minimum.
Okay.
So the body doesn't need that get up and go. So therefore it doesn't utilize it effectively. But I'm going to throw a spanner in that statement. If I do have average Joe sitting there, a little bit lazy, you might as well say. Let's just say that. Let's come out straight and say lazy, sitting there not doing anything. And we say, right, why don't we look at boosting testosterone levels? Could that be why he's lazy?
Okay.
His stress levels could have exhausted him 6 months ago. He's in that post-exhaustive stage. He's not building himself up, so he looks lazy. He just doesn't have the get up and go. He might actually need that test boost to get him to that next phase, to get him up off the couch.
So we're using that as a men's formula then? Like it's not, you're not in that scary world of test boosting and testosterone. We're talking about a men's formula to get yourself back going.
Okay. And if you look at a combination of different nutrients and herbs, you can have a really good men's formula. Yes, it's out there as a test boost because that's what it does. But it's a combination, and we've learned a couple of times now. I love the synergism of things. It's the building upon, and it's the 1 + 1 = 3 effect.
Okay.
That when you have these things together, they work better together. And it might be a combination of different nutrients, and we're looking at a particular one today, where we're looking at combining it with boron and zinc and magnesium and all different nutrients that way, and how they regulate hormones and neurotransmitters for focus and drive and energy.
And it's that lust for life that you talk about a lot.
Lust for life. It makes you want to get up out of bed and fire.
Yeah.
You want to get out there and just do it. That lust for life, re-energize.
Am I medically going to see changes in my bloods by taking a test booster?
The answer to that is yes, you
Yep.
can. Again, it depends on the person.
Yep.
So there's something that we know is called homeostasis, where the body remains in balance. It likes to keep things in a certain level and maintains that level. And for us to see significant change, you need to do significant change.
Yes.
You can't just sit there and wait for it to happen. So we need to lust for life, get out there and do it. If we supply the nutrients in the herbs that can actually boost the testosterone and regulate the hormones, you can see a change. It's not going to be a massive change up front.
Yep.
Because it's not, like we said, it's not an anabolic steroid, which is a short-term power punch.
Yes.
In this case, this is a long-term power punch. This will allow the body to build upon, so you get the longer-term benefits for male health, but also overall health as well.
Well, you touched on it now. Let's talk about what are some of the dangers of having low testosterone.
Well, it's quite interesting because it's that lust for life is pretty much gone.
That's a big one.
I want to throw in depression and anxiety. You do feel that way. You do get more doom and gloom. It's slow recovery. You get aches and pains all the time. You just feel bad. Your muscle, there's a term for it called atrophy. Muscle starts to waste away. You get weaker muscle, leading to weaker bone. So in some cases, there's, you know how there's menopause. There's a condition called andropause, where men at the same age, so the 45 to 55, our androgen levels, testosterone, decrease. So we actually go through a male menopause. So it's called manopause or andropause, and we get through the same health conditions. So we can get weaker bones and weaker muscle and memory issues, etc. So in females, the estrogen levels are needed to maintain. And some testosterone. So women need testosterone as well, particularly for libido. We'll talk about that in a moment. With men, we need testosterone levels for, for muscle, nerves, bone, and they get lust for life. They get up and go, and that's part of where men just don't got it. It's not there. And you go, what do you mean? And they just say, it's just not there. I just don't have that. I don't want to get up in the morning anymore. I just want to sit there and just relax and not really. And
that's not that pre-workout energy, that caffeine boost you're talking there. You're just talking how you generally feel.
It's like, we've both of us have said now lust for life a number of times, and that's a great phrase to use for this. You can see it in people's eyes. They're out there, they're hitting it hard, in a positive way. They're getting out there, achieving things in life. And then that's where with testosterone deficiency, we have a lack of that. We lose our drive. We lose our feeling of well-being. We lose our place. Things don't fall into place as well anymore.
And you hit that spiral.
You hit the spiral. Work's not as fun. It's not as good. Relationships can break down because the whole being is not there anymore.
Diet
it's
changes.
A massive hit to the person. Massive hit.
Interesting. Are there any other, apart from herbal supplements, are there any other ways we can alleviate the issue? As what did you talk about? The menopause male?
The menopause male. So in that case, and there's a real condition, menopause male is, again, we look at the diet and lifestyle of the person. If they're eating chips and not the best diet, what you put in is what you get out. And that's workouts and physical stuff, but as well as the fuel. So if we look after that and build upon that with herbal medicines and nutrients, people get the best out of life with it.
Nice.
They get that lust back. And it's the targeting of those herbs and nutrients. It's the combination, the synergism. It's not just whacking 100 things together and going, hey, this will do it. Because that's just not the way it works. Target it, build upon it, and look at how these things work together. And sometimes something may look out of place. You look at a formula in a bottle and you're thinking, okay, why is that in there? For example, K2. So there's a particular form of vitamin K2 called Q7. So it's a high-grade K2. And in this case, we're looking at blood flow, bone health, connective tissue health, teeth health, like the enamel in the teeth, like really strong, good quality teeth, and general bone structure. So if we're able to modify bone structure, as in strengthen it, muscle structure as well as good blood flow.
Modify bone structure.
We can increase the bone mineral density over time.
With vitamin K2.
You can do that.
Nice.
So it's a good way of doing it. And, when I said like 25, remember I was saying there's that age, that's what peak bone mass. You're not going to get any more bone growth.
Okay.
Like you're not going to get taller.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to get shorter. But we're not going to get any taller. But what you do is what you pack in that. Is what you pack in it. So if you can use, vitamin K2, it strengthens and maintains the flexibility of the bone in that case. You get better quality bone. Pack more mineral content into it. It's less likely going to have any issues of, let's just say, osteoporosis, which for men does happen, but later.
Yep.
So women's just after menopause because of the estrogen component. With men, it's a little bit later than that. And again, it's part of our mandropause effect. It's part of that. So keeping that in mind, that's why that's in there, blood flow.
So you've talked about blood and bone. I'm assuming you're talking about calcification of arteries.
Perfect.
When you talk about vitamin K2?
Yeah. So, it's I don't want to go too deep into it, but we're seeing calcification of arteries in 15-year-olds.
No way.
Just as poor diet and lifestyle. It's ridiculous. It's sad. Actually, it's sad. So if we can start by just having good fuel, that's half the story. What vitamin K2 does, it maintains the flexibility. So you get good blood flow, good flexibility, and actually is able to metabolize the calcium more effectively in the arterial wall. Everyone like in this room and everyone watching and listening today will have some kind of calcification. They will have it because it's a natural process. But then when it builds upon, that's when you get your clotting and your occlusions and blockages, etc. Vitamin K2 maintains that blood flow.
Okay.
And with the calcium in the artery, it's able to metabolize it more effectively and put it where it needs to be, connective tissue.
Interesting. Very interesting. A lot of research on that too, isn't it?
There is, and more and more coming through.
Yeah.
A couple of big studies, hopefully in the next couple of years that are still going through. Short-term studies are great, and there's a number of longer-term, like over the years, that we're looking at. So it's quite exciting stuff coming out soon.
Look, speaking of exciting, you mentioned blood flow a lot with vitamin K2. Obviously, a lot of people that come to see us about a test booster are libido-driven.
Yeah.
Working too hard and not working hard enough in other areas. Like, is vitamin K2 on the libido side of them? And we haven't really discussed the libido side, so you should jump in and talk. Because, I mean, that is the big reason why a lot of 40-plus people come and see us, ex-athletes. I'm not picking on ex-athletes here. I mean, just
as an example,
we have a lot of athletes walking our front door to talk to me personally. So is the vitamin K2 working in synergy with the libido concept of the Tribulus, etc.?
It can do so, and this is where we have to look at synergism.
Yeah.
So if you improve blood flow, you're going to improve blood flow to the areas where it needs to be. And that's your libido angle.
Yep.
So in this case, we're working with testosterone, building upon it. So again, the muscle, bone, but also testosterone levels for libido and lust for life. If we improve the blood flow and antioxidant status and anti-inflammatory as well, libido goes up.
Okay.
So it will go up, and some people notice a sharp increase relatively quick because it's worked for them relatively quick. Other people, it takes time because there's other stressors that play. They may be not getting enough sleep.
Yes.
They're working too hard. There's not enough recovery. It could be the ex-athlete. Like I've worked with a lot of athletes where they've had a 10-year career at the top level and then they stop. What happens next? They stop. They actually hit that wall, and it's like, what's happening in my life? Because the support network's not really there in some cases. They're not physically active. They've dropped down that lust for life level. If we can boost that up and increase and aid in recovery, and that's via circulation, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, all these pathways we can talk about in detail. We don't have a lot of time for it. All these interplay together, allowing us to utilize testosterone better. So you get more out of what we got in the body and allow that level to increase based on the activity that's needed. And combine it with some things like, magnesium. It's a vasodilator as well. So I want you to imagine, there's your artery, the blood's going through it, and as we get weaker arteries and veins, it closes a little bit. And also calcification, like you've mentioned. With the magnesium, it's a vasodilator. It opens up the arteries, the veins, and effectively allows them to become more elastic and let that blood flow go.
Okay.
So, and that's another reason why it's included, because it allows that sort of anti-stress factor that everyone knows magnesium is good for calming and relaxing, but it's that sort of blood flow, antioxidant capacity, reducing oxidative stress.
You talk about blood flow a lot. Like, how important is blood flow? I mean, obviously that's a stupid question if you sit back and I just thought about what I said, but how important is, a synergistic approach to your food, your diet, your supplements and blood flow? Like,
it's actually a very good question. So I want you to think of blood as, and it's very esoteric thinking of it this way, but it's like the life force, because the blood's delivering nutrients and detoxifying and working that. And I want you to imagine you've got a swampy mess of bloodstream. There's a lot of particles in it. It's very sluggish and slow, and it's not detoxifying and cleansing properly. People don't feel good. They've got dry skin, feel tired, weak, fatigued. So they're just not getting what they want out of life. And that's because the river of life is all sluggish and slow. If you have the right nutrient profile, vitamin K2, magnesium, fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, like all the good quality fuels as well, that allows that blood to flow more effectively and over time make it this beautiful crystal clear river, I want you to imagine, versus a swampy, festery, kind of mess. It doesn't have the ability to support the nutrients and flow of energy effectively.
And that's an interesting one, supporting the nutrients. I mean, the blood's obviously a carrier for a lot of nutrients.
Carrier, also oxygenation as well. You need to oxygenate the tissue. And when tissue is properly oxygenated and detoxified, it works more effective.
Interesting. Okay, let's get to the big one. We're talking test boosters. Tell us more about Tribulus. I mean, Tribulus has been around a long time. You hear about whole plant, you hear about fruit, you hear about the root, you hear about all these different types. You hear about it has to be Bulgarian Tribulus, and like I believe that came from the Olympic team or something at some stage early on. Tell us about Tribulus.
Well, Tribulus is a, like I say, wonderful plant. And we always have like the fruit and root saying with it. So what we need to do is whenever you look at a supplement, where does the Tribulus come from? Is it whole plant, fruit or root or combination thereof? And we have a saying in the naturopathic world, fruit and root. Because that way we want to get the best of the saponins and the main active constituents in there. So I want you to imagine now that every herb is made up of multiple chemicals. It's like a banana, an apple. They're made up of multiple chemicals that do different things. When it comes to herbal medicine, we're using them more therapeutically. And we need to make sure we have the right chemical structure to get what we need. And if we look at a lot of the research studies, we look at what they've researched on. And a lot of it is on fruit and root. But also I want you to imagine, because a lot of this is weight, you can throw in a whole plant and take up the bulk size or the weight of the tablet, for example, with material that looks good. Hey, it's Tribulus. This is awesome. You know what I mean? But if you use the right form, the fruit and root, Bulgarian, I know we have a bit of a laugh about that. It has to be Bulgarian, but that's where the works come from. And that's where the some of the research is coming from, the plant, so hence its name. So, and there's a lot of people have used it in the past. So there's a lot of stories and anecdotal evidence, clinical stuff, but over the years we're building upon the science as well. That's the best thing of where we're at now in this field of nutritional herbal medicine, sports medicine. We're in this field with the researchers now backing up stuff we've always known. Like I said, I learnt about Tribulus a long time ago, and there was some research on it, but a lot of clinical stuff where people had come in, case study. They took Tribulus, they felt better, the libido went up, their energy went up, they just felt so much better on it. And that's good, but it's not full scientific evidence, it's a case study evidence. So the different levels of evidence. Now we're seeing a lot more clinical work, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And because that's who we are, we're individuals, and we're seeing a lot more research to back that up too. And that's where it's just a fantastic time. And combining all that knowledge and using the right form, in this case, the fruit and root, and a good clinical dosage as well, it's a perfect way of doing it.
Perfect. So traditionally used in Ayurvedic medicine, let's tell people, what is Ayurvedic medicine?
It's an interesting one because you'll find that they'll say, traditionally used in Western herbal medicine, which makes sense. Because Australia and sort of European and the US, for example, we're seen as Western. It's not exactly the way how the globe works, but because we're opposite sides, but hey, we're Western. I think it's more like developed nations kind of statement as well. When you look at Ayurvedic medicine, it's been around 5,000 years.
5,000, wow.
Chinese medicine, 5,000. This is like the original, fruit and root doctor kind of thing. This is the original stuff. And we're learning a lot from those old textbooks and old information. And when we say traditionally used for, sorry about that, we can actually look at the effect of, science is catching up to what we've always known. But we've got an old textbook that's 100 years old, 500 years old. Some of this is written in old Sanskrit that's been, translated into English, saying, person comes in with feeling of tiredness and weakness and fatigue and a shallow, hollow face and like very descriptive because they didn't have photos.
Yes.
And then you can say, I know that person. And then they gave Tribulus and that improved their general health and well-being and it built up their energetics. And libido is a word that's been used a long time. They didn't know it was testosterone because they didn't have the science to measure the testosterone.
Absolutely.
But they knew it did something for the male. The male energy is what they used to call it.
The male energy.
The male energy. And that's where the libido and that comes from. It's the male energy. And that's something that, as men, we want energy.
Yes.
And particularly male energy as well, using the term. And a lot of, traditionally used for is where it's come from.
Okay. Interesting. So what are we looking for Tribulus to promote? I know that's a bit of a short question I've asked you there. I know you've spoken about Tribulus for 5 minutes now. So wrapping that up, not wrapping this up, but wrapping that up, what are the like 4 or 5 things or 3 things that Tribulus promotes? So if I'm out there going, do I want a test booster and, do I need this and what are the 3, 4, 5 things that...
I'm going to firstly say, which is always a bit of an out, straight up, general health and well-being.
Yeah.
Because it covers a lot of angles. Because with the male, of course, testosterone is regulating a lot of other pathways.
Okay.
Like cholesterol metabolism. So it does a lot more work, more than just male energy. So it's general health and well-being. It builds up, sexual function, physiology, hormone levels as well, prostate health.
Prostate health.
Very good with prostate health.
Okay.
So as men get older, their prostate starts to suffer a little bit.
Yes.
It's like with females with ovaries. So it's like, let's just sort of flip it that way and say with males it's prostate. If you have healthy testosterone levels, the prostate fares much better.
So would someone, and look, we don't talk about steroids a lot on these podcasts, but someone who's coming off a cycle of steroids would be looking for some type of health in that area, or am I off track here and where I'm going?
No, you're on track. That, because some of the side effects with steroids, if it's a one-off kind of thing, some people have anabolic steroids for some other reason, not just for performance.
Oh, obviously there's a medical reason for using.
So
I'm talking non-medical. Yeah.
So if it's for, and that's where I'm dividing it up. When there's a non-medical reason for doing it, that's actually been found to affect, other tests like the testosterone level in general, but also prostate health, testicular health, so male health and energy, it can affect that. So in some men, it can really reduce libido levels. And they have that sort of dull kind of energy kind of thing. It's hard to describe in a podcast, but it's like they have this dull energy and they need that boost. And that's why they go back to it.
Yeah.
Not realizing it's a Band-Aid. If you keep applying a Band-Aid, you damage the skin.
Yeah, okay.
Think of it like that.
Nicely put.
So think of it that way. If we can build upon that skin using the same point, we strengthen the skin so we don't need the Band-Aid anymore.
Okay.
And by using a testosterone booster, in this case, like with the Tribulus, Bulgarian Tribulus, we're actually allowing the body's physiology to naturally influence testosterone levels to build it up to a level that allows us to do what we need to do. Naturally. And that could be, and that's
our
the main
10
point.
out of 10.
Our 10 out of 10 naturally, and that could be at the office. Busy executive, running around, you're doing massive workload, and you get to the end of the day and you go, got it done. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
And in other people, it's like, I'm laying down bricks all day and building things. And at the end of the day, got it done, fantastic, I can relax.
Yeah.
It allows you to achieve those goals. And at the end, have that recovery. Rather than a huge spike, massive testosterone spike, and then what do you get afterwards? Huge drop. Tribulus, other things, even like fenugreek, like other herbs and nutrients as well, maintain that, allow it to work effectively. And if you balance it out with zinc, magnesium, and B6, they're a common trio.
Yes.
Those ones, I love that trio. They actually do Again, 1 + 1 + 1 = 4.
Yeah.
It's a combination effect. The anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, nervous system, immune system, skin, it does so much more when you balance it out. And again, testosterone is behind a lot of that. So if we can regulate, build upon the testosterone levels, boost it, get it to a point where we need it to work for us individually, and then maintain it with other nutrients. It's a great way of doing it.
So general well-being, tonic, lust for life,
Yep.
libido, and recovery was your third big one you threw in there. So I've got this tablet at home.
You got it at home.
Okay. How do I take it?
How
Do
you
I take it? But well, I should qualify that because that's you put
It's
it
a
in
big
your
question.
mouth. You put it in your mouth and you swallow it. We all know how you take it. Like,
Yep.
do I have one in the morning, one at night? Do I have it before I train? Do I have it during times of stress? Do I have it when I just remember? Yeah. Any tips for us out there to get value out of our test booster?
To get the value out of the test booster, you've given multiple scenarios there.
Sorry
which
about
is
that.
right. No, it's good because we have multiple scenarios.
Yeah, that's
People
life.
come to us with life things.
Yeah.
So you get 10 different people asking the same question 10 different ways.
Absolutely.
What's best for me?
Yep.
It's like, that's a huge question. What's best for me? So you might have someone, and let's just say they work out in the morning. They may do it as a pre-workout and again at lunch. You might have the office Joe, the guy in there, the busy executive, he's working hard, breakfast and lunch because it gets him through to the end of the day.
Yep.
I like doing that kind of dosing with this product
Yep.
because that way it builds up your stamina, endurance, male energy or not. It allows it to build up during the day. And some people may even just take the dose as required. So tomorrow's going to be a really busy day. Flat chat, I'm up early, I'm working hard. So they may take a dose tonight. So that way it's in the system, so to say, and another dose tomorrow morning, again at lunch, and build up the recovery.
So if you took our Triandrobol home tomorrow, how would you personally take it? Because you travel a lot. You
I
do a
do
lot of
travel
speaking,
a
so
lot.
you're obviously doing a lot of nights, a lot of early mornings. So
Yeah.
that's sort of when speaking happens. You're hitting the beach and doing some running around and stuff. You told me
Yeah.
into your training, you do eat well. So, but you've got a very busy lifestyle. So how are you taking test boosters?
So if I was to start taking it tomorrow, like going off your question,
Yep.
I would take it at breakfast for me.
With
and
food?
lunch with food.
Okay.
Best with food for me. And the reason being, for example, today I went to bed around 1:30 and I got up 2 hours and 10 minutes later to travel up here.
It's a great early flight, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great the 2 hour sleep time. But that's because I have a busy lifestyle.
Yeah.
So for me to maintain that level, I'll be doing one breakfast, one lunch. And the reason being is it builds me up, stamina, endurance, gets me up and going, and then keeps me going into the night.
And that's that lust for life we're talking
It's that
about.
lust
Just
for life.
keeping it real. So,
Keeping
okay,
it real.
we've talked about you. Now let's jump back to our little 25-year-old mate.
25-year-old?
Yeah, who's obviously looking for mass muscle gain, wants to get as jacked as they can. Bad choice of word there. I apologise to everyone for listening to that. But
It's all right.
how's that person taking it?
And 25, because we always ask the question why,
Yep.
and you've just given the example there. Look, it's quite hard because sometimes it would be better for them breakfast with food, dinner with food, because it's what else they're doing as well.
Yeah.
And in some cases, and I know the scenario you're talking about, I see these guys as patients.
Yep.
Because they've hit it hard, they've done everything hard, and now they're a 25-year-old feeling like a 50-year-old or an 80 or 100-year-old. You know, they're just not feeling 25.
Yes.
They've just done it too hard. So with them, I'd be thinking, you know, what time of day do you need it? So I'm a brickie, I'm a whatever. We love that example there. With food, I find better result.
Okay.
With breakfast and lunch. Gives them the stamina and endurance during the day, good recovery going into the evening, and allows them to reset, particularly with the magnesium and other nutrients in there, to reset and allow them to calm back down. Sort of get off that sort of lust for life
Yep.
back into a rest and recovery.
So we dose our Tribulus throughout the day.
Yeah,
Nice.
I get very good results doing it that way. Works with the rhythm of the body too.
What's the rhythm of the body?
So the rhythm of the body, we're looking at, you know, circadian rhythm, so it's our 24-hour balance.
Yep.
And there's one called diurnal rhythm. and that's our day-night. So the body's designed to be up during the day and rest and recover during night. And that's why, like with anything with what we're talking about today, is breakfast and lunch.
So a shift worker would be first meal.
So the shift worker would be their breakfast and their lunch.
Okay.
And that could be 12 hours the opposite end of the scale.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and that's the way I see it is, so their first meal of the day is classified as their breakfast, take it then. So if they're working, 8 p.m. to 5 a.m., just flipping the clock for a second there, they would take it at their breakfast time, which might be 7 p.m. And again, around sort of, 10, 11 p.m. at night, just to sort of keep the recovery.
And look, just playing with that shift worker for a while, and I know you haven't touched on them a lot in what we've been talking about here, but that lust for life, there's a lot of things about depression and weight gain in people who are working shift work. How do I roll out a supplement, and not just, we'll use Tribulus as an example, I'm doing the late shift, which means my breakfast is a dinner and my dinner is a breakfast.
Yep.
And I do that for 2 weeks, and I'm put on a day shift and for a couple of weeks and all that. How am I changing what I'm doing in my life, or am I trying to keep consistency of something throughout my life?
And this is a good example of where you're playing against the body's rhythm.
Absolutely.
So when you're on your night shift, you're fighting against it. And when you go into the day shift mode, the body's starting to trigger its clock, it's changing, and then you change it again.
Yeah.
And it sort of gets stressed.
Yep.
And then they find it hard to sleep again, and it's the whole cycle again, and it takes them a week sometimes to readjust. And then they're back to night shift again. So with Tribulus, I'll be thinking, well, again, the breakfast and lunch of that time point. And they could take
the time point that you're in.
Sustain the time point. And I can say to you now, they could take it every day, the shift worker, but just adjust it for your day.
Okay.
And if they're worrying about, I'm going to get too much going from my day to night shift, we don't need to worry about that, because it balances out over time, because then you shift it and you're preparing for the next one.
Perfect.
And some people get a day or two off in between the shift changes, and I know some people that don't. It's the ones that don't suffer a lot more because they can't readjust easily. Your breakfast, your lunch in that cycle.
Okay, fantastic.
And they can take it throughout that time.
Okay. Can we just touch on a couple, and finishing up a couple of ingredients that you do see in a lot of test boosters? Like, why is boron in a test booster?
But boron's quite interesting to put in there, because people think, why's boron in there?
Yeah.
Isn't that just for bone? Well, yes, it is for bone. And we did talk earlier about having good quality bone and then for muscle. So there's the male health and energy as well. But boron has this way of metabolizing the different hormones, estrogen, testosterone, and even progesterone. Males and females, we all have estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, just in different amounts depending on whether you're male or female.
Yep.
Just mirror image, you might as well say.
Yeah.
And in this case, if we're regulating it with boron, we're able to metabolize the estrogen more effectively, because males need less, and up-regulating the testosterone effect. So it's a good way of doing it. So it's reworking the metabolism back into order.
Okay.
With some men who are overweight, they tend to have more estrogen versus testosterone. The percentage is still there, but a little bit out of whack.
Yep.
And the reason being is once you start getting more adipose tissue, you start storing more estrogen in that tissue.
Okay.
And when you start burning that off, you're changing the hormone levels. And some people get a bit cranky with their weight loss, and that's because we're changing hormone levels.
Okay.
We have boron, zinc, magnesium, and B6, etc. We're working on strengthening the nervous system, the hormone levels, neurotransmitters, serotonin, melatonin. We're balancing it all out, and therefore you can effectively metabolize the different hormones. So in a way, we're upregulating the testosterone effect and rebalancing the estrogen.
And that nervous system is important when we talk about test boosters?
It's very much so, because that's that nervous energy stress that people get. And we've talked about this a number of times, where you've got, the bricklayer physical work and then the busy executive mental work. The nervous system plays a role in both. It's just two different ways of doing it.
Okay.
So it's very important to do that.
Interesting. So is just tying up males and test boosters in of all available over the counter we're talking about here, anything we need to tell people before they walk in and ask for one?
Generally speaking, as much information as you can get, just general question, why you're taking it, what are you taking it for, what do you want out of it?
Yes.
And then we can sort of target the dosing, back to dosing again. And we might have a 80-year-old come in. He says, I need a bit of male energy and I need a bit of stamina.
Got a new girlfriend?
Got a new girlfriend and or more. And and some people do whatever they want, you know. Yeah. And he might just need more male energy. Yeah. And I'd be just asking, in the 80-year-old, for example, are you taking any medications, blood pressure medications? Is there any cardiovascular disease? And these are general questions we'd ask any 80-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
So generally speaking, you know, a lot of nutritional herbal formulas are relatively safe because they're tested for safety and quality, and there's research behind them. Mm-hmm. It's just the Australian way with listed medicines, therapeutic goods. So we know there's that safety factor in there. So the doses are not going to be inappropriate.
Okay.
They're going to be the right doses, and we're going to be able to read the dose.
Absolutely.
And work out what it is.
That's a big thing.
That's a massive thing to work with. You know what you're getting. Therefore, we can actually say to this gentleman of 80, you've done well. You know, you're 80, you're still chugging along with Lust for Life. Just needs that extra boost. And as I said, just ask what kind of medications, any health issues. And if it's given the all clear, we can always say, this looks good. However, let's just check with your doctor first.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to make sure there's anything else going on. And it could be blood pressure. They haven't had it tested for 6 months or something. I'd say just go and get it checked.
Yep.
But if it comes back all clear, I'd be very happy for that man to take his product, take it with him and take one on the spot if he wants, if he's that excited. Get that Lust for Life out there and up and running and go for it.
Yeah, nice.
And that goes for the 25-year-old or the 40-year-old. We just ask the question like of anything, you know, what do you want to get out of this? And they'll tell you that. It's the tiredness, weakness, fatigue, or the lust for life, or the male energy, the different ways we talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, they'll tell you. And then we can work with it. And, you know, in the combination with the MENA-Q7, so the vitamin K2, as I said earlier, about blood flow, the other nutrients for antioxidant, anti-inflammatory pathways, nervous system, hormonal balance that we talked about in this session. There's a lot of reasons why men can take this.
So jumping on from that, so if I'm a mid-age executive like I am, I should be looking at maybe stacking with a multivitamin then.
Perfect.
And that's your Libido Lust for Life pack.
Libido Lust for Life pack. That's what it's called now, everyone.
Power pack.
Power pack. So we want that power punch back in life.
Dr. Brad McEwen's Power Pack.
That's it, trademarked right now. Everyone, you saw it. Or maybe it's too late. It's done. I'd combine this with a good quality multivitamin mineral.
Yep.
Because that way you just get
in
an
the
extra
morning.
boost.
Normally they're one a day these days, so that would be the two of them in the morning.
I'd do 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes, that way you get your power punch, your power pack, and you combine that with your test boost, hormonal balance, neural balance, everything else like that.
Yeah.
Perfect way of doing it. It's that synergy, that building upon it.
So, boys, if we're not feeling the best, we don't have that lust for life, it may be a test booster you need. Go and see your doctor, go and see your naturopath, talk to your health practitioner, but it could be just what you need.
Think about Dr. Brad's Power Pack.
There you go. Let's get a Power Pack on. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Today's podcast was brought to you by our partners in Fit, Happy and Healthy, ASN, Nutrition Warehouse, DY Discount Vitamins, Fat Burners Only, Evelyn Faye, Mr. Supplement, or find a retailer online at bodyscience.com.au/retailers.